Of course. Of course. First thing I do is I drop the phone because terrible production quality. Wouldn't you know? Shalom. Hey, so doing our Torah portion. Said I was going to start this eventually, so what better than that, right? Yay. Commentary with the wife, but she wants to be off camera because that's how she roll. Vayechi, and he lived. Right?
Yes.
And he lived, yes, and he lived. Genesis 47, verses 25 through 50.
28 through 50.
28 through 50. My bad. So, without further ado, let's do. And Jacob, lived in the land of Mitzrayim 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. And the time for Israel, to die drew near. And he called his son Joseph and said to him, "Now if I have found favor in your eyes, please put your hand under my thigh and show loving commitment and truth to me. Please do not bury me in Mitzrayim." So the way I understand this is putting your hand under someone's thigh. You know, that sounds weird in our customs and tradition, but that was like the most severe promise you could make, because you're basically man to man. You're putting your hand under his authority, his growing, which is where his seed comes from. So it's like a generational commitment. So that's like the strongest commitment you can make, is to place your hand under someone's thigh and make the commitment. Which, I know, Western culture, that sounds really weird, but that apparently back in the day, that's as binding as it gets. You know, that's the same here as legal documentation, everything. Like, hey, this is a generational promise we're about to make here. That's what I've been taught and understand. So if I'm wrong, forgive me, but that was a thought that came into head. Anyways, I'm not gonna do too much commentary. Please do not bury me in Mitzrayim. So he's saying, hey, if you love me, don't bury me here. I don't want to be buried here. You gotta take me somewhere else. But I shall lie with my fathers, and you shall take me up out of Mitzrayim, so Egypt, and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I do as you have said. So Israel says to Joseph, don't bury me here in Egypt. Take me out of here and bury me with my fathers in you know, the old land, in the old country. And Joseph says, I promise I will. And he said, swear to me. And he swore to him. And Israel bowed himself on the head of the bed. Wait, did I go farther? What's it to? It's to 50, you said?
Yeah, you should have ended at 31.
Huh?
Verse 31 is where you ended at.
Oh, okay. And then what?
Go to 50.
Go to 50.
I read all the way to
all the
50.
way to 50. Okay, sorry. We're still learning. We're still learning to do this on camera. So 48. Is it verse 50 or?
The last one was 31, right?
No, the last one was 31.
Okay.
So am I going through 48 to 50, or here, can I see the phone real quick? Just make sure I'm doing this right. I know we should have. What is it? Best information, poorest production quality. This is 31, 48 1. So yeah, it goes all the way to that. It goes all the way to what? Okay, so it goes, it's 47, 28, 50, 26. So it goes all the way to chapter 50, verse 26. Okay, cleared up. I got it. Did you want to read, Darlene, or do you just want me to? Me? Okay. All right. And after these events, it came to be that it was said to Joseph, see, your father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Joseph was told, "See, your son Joseph is coming to you." And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, "El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said to me, See, I'm making you fruitful, and shall increase you and make you increase you and make of you an assembly of peoples, and give this land to your seed after you as an everlasting possession. And now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mitzrayim before I came to you in Mitzrayim, are mine, as Reuben and Shimeon, Simon. Is it Simon or Simeon? Simeon. They are mine. Sorry, guys. By the way, the scriptures. You see that right there? Is that upside down? Oops. There. And there's glare. The scriptures. I know, right? Best production quality ever. So, learn our Hebrewese. Simeon. They are mine. Your offspring, who you shall bring forth after them, are yours. And let them be called by the name of their brothers in their inheritance. And I, when I came from Padan, Rachel. So that's interesting how that's different. It's in Hebrew it's Rahel, not Rachel, but Rahel. Anyways, died besides me in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was but a little distance to go to Epartha. And I buried her there on the way to Epartha. That is Bethlehem. That is Bethlehem. So Rachel was born or was buried in Bethlehem. Interesting. It's interesting. And Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom Elohim has given me in this place. And he said, Please bring them to me. I remember. This is the crisscross blessing. This is where, he blesses the secondborn instead of the firstborn with the different blessings. It's important. He said, Please bring them to me and let me bless them. And the eyes of Israel were dim with age, and he was unable to see, and he drew them near him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, but see, Elohim has also shown me your seed. So Joseph brought them from between his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand towards Israel's right hand, and brought them near him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger. So the first blessing, the right hand blessing, went to the younger of the sons, which again, this is a Hebrew thing that we don't really understand in our Western culture. But the first son is always supposed to receive the right-handed blessing. It's the higher blessing when you're blessing multiple children. The first in order is always supposed to receive the right-handed blessing. But here, basically, he's blessing the younger son with the authority blessing, the headship blessing, which is going to set up a lot of stuff. But I always thought this was an interesting thing here. Which is why when I bless Ezra, I always bless him right hand first, just kind of, that's if you've ever noticed when I give Ezra blessings. No. Terrible. I always lay my right hand on his head first when I give him blessings. And he blessed Joseph and said, I skipped something. And his left hand on Manasseh's head, consciously directing his hand for Manasseh, was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, The Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the Elohim who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil. Bless the youths, and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my father Abraham and Isaac, and let them increase into a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a people, and he is also great. And yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. And he blessed them on that day, saying, In you Israel shall be blessed, saying, Elohim make you as Ephraim, and as Manasseh. Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said to Joseph, See, I am dying, but Elohim shall be with you, and bring you back to the land of your fathers. And I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite, with my sword and with my bow. And Jacob called his sons, and said, Gather together, so that I declare to you what is to befall you in the last days. Gather together, and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my power, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of exaltation and the excellency of power, boiling like water. You do not excel because you went up to your father's bed. Then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their weapons are implements of violence. Let my being not enter their council. Let my esteem not be united to their assembly, because they killed a man in their displeasure, and they lamed an ox in pleasure. Cursed be their displeasure, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I divided them in Jacob, and scattered them from Israel. You, Yehuda, Judah, your brothers praise you. Your hand is on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children bow down before you. Yehuda is a lion's cub, and from the prey you have gone up, my son. He bowed down, he couched like a lion, and like a lion who does rouse him. The scepter shall not turn aside from Yehuda, Judah, Judah, nor an inscriber from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. To him is the obedience of peoples, binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun, who dwells at the seashore, he is for a haven for ships, and his border is unto Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey lying down between two burdens. And he saw that a resting place was good, and that the land was pleasant, and he inclined his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a subject to slave labor. Dan rightly rules his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan is a serpent by the way, an adder, by the path that bites the horse's heel so that its rider falls backwards. I have waited for your deliverance, O Yahuwah, or Yahuwah, sorry. So there's several names that people say. It's Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahuwah. I'm still trying to decide which one I like the most, but a lot of people I've been listening to lately, they say Yahuwah, so I don't know. I have been saying Yahweh, but we'll know. Someday we'll know the proper pronunciation for sure, and there's people who want to make bones about it. I really don't care. This is important that we speak God's name as best we can, and He knows. That's the important thing, is He knows. Gad, a riding band raids him, but he raids its heel. Bread from Asher is rich, and he gives delicacies of a sovereign. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He gives words of elegance. Joseph is an offshoot of fruit-bearing tree, an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. His branches run over a wall. And the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. But his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. From there is a shepherd, the stone of Israel. I remember this was used a lot in LDS doctrine to say that Joseph, was basically coming over from Europe into North America, and that Joseph
Well, that was
Smith,
the
what is his
branches that run over
right,
the wall.
right.
The other sheep
Mm-hmm.
commentary.
And that right here, they would also say that right here, this his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. So basically saying that America would shepherd Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Be the strong one that protects Israel in its time of need. By the way, that's our background. LDS, Latter-day Saint. So, we have a lens. Everyone has a lens, right? We all have our lenses. I just think that's interesting. From the El of your Father, who helps you, and by the Almighty who blesses you with blessings of heavens from above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the beasts of the womb. The blessings of your Father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors up to the limit of the everlasting hills. They are on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. Benjamin. I don't. How do you say it? It's Benjamin. I don't know. I know my Hebrew is horrible. Is a wolf that tears in the morning. He eats prey, and at night he divides the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is what their father spoke to them. And he blessed them, and he blessed each one according to his own blessing. Gosh, some of these kids, they didn't get very good blessings. That's rough, man. My dad lays hands upon me and says, yo, you're going to be a slave. your peoples are going to be slaves.
I think it's about life's choices, and you have a projection that can affect future generations.
Yeah, Simeon and Levi are brothers, and their weapons are implements of violence. Let my being not enter their counsel, let my esteem. So basically he's saying, yo, I don't want no part of you, and what you're doing. That's rough. And he commanded them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Malcheth, which is before Marmir, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham brought with the field of Ephron the Hittite as a possession for a burial site. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Yitzhak and Rebekah his wife, so Isaac and Rebekah his wife. And there I buried Leah. Yeah, that was his other wife, right? It was Rebekah and Leah. And there I buried Leah.
They were sisters.
Yeah, they were sisters. That's right, because they were sisters, and he wanted Leah, right? Or did he want? No, he wanted Rachel. He wanted Rebecca. But he got Leah first. The father said, "No. You have to marry Leah first by tradition. You have to marry the oldest first, and that was Leah." So then he worked 7 more years to get Rachel, right? Or is it Rebecca?
Rebecca.
Or is it no? It's
Mark. It says Rebecca.
It says Rebecca. I thought it was Rachel.
Rebecca, his wife. Then I buried Leah.
Okay. I guess. Yeah, that is what it says. It's late. I might be thinking, who was Rachel then? Wasn't there a Rachel? Yeah. Okay. These people know their scriptures oh so well. It's late. We're learning. Okay. Such a scholarly video this is. All right. Anyways, Where was I?
The field and the cave. That is.
Yeah, they buried Abraham and Sarah, his wife, and they buried Isaac and Rebekah, his wife, and there I buried Leah.
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 It's not Star Wars.
Leah?
It's
Leah.
Not, it says it's not Star Wars.
Dun, da, 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 da. Yeah, okay, whatever. The field purchased and the cave which is in it from the sons of Heth. And when Jacob ended commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Man, he was just like, okay, I'm going, but here's the instruction. Bury me here. You know, it's interesting, what was it? So, in the Israelite tradition, when you die, you know, it says that you go to sleep. So a lot of Christians are like, oh yeah, when we die, we go bing, straight to heaven, you know, or to the other place. Sheol, the place of the dead. Hell. But no, that's actually not true. According to the Bible, when you die, you rest. You go to sleep. Which was why Samuel, the prophet, was really pissed at who's the king? David. It was No, not Solomon. Why am I forgetting his name? God. The guy before David. We literally just watched the movie. It was not Solomon. No, that was Solomon was David's son. It was the king before David. It starts with an S too. I remember. It's freaking. Anyways. Saul. Yes, King Saul. King Saul. There's a story where King Saul goes to a witch doctor, a voodoo woman, a witch, and basically, you know, she conjures up, I just said his name, and now you see, this is how late it is. Samuel. She conjures up Samuel the prophet, and Samuel is like, bro, why did you wake me up? You know you're not supposed to do this, and I'm kind of pissed because I was resting, I was sleeping, and you've brought me forth, you've brought my spirit forth, and you've awoken me. And by the way, you know better. I taught you better. God says don't do this crap, and you're doing this crap. And, you know, that's New Living Me translation. But anyways.
I lost it.
You lost it?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you go to Google's and you go to First Fruits of Zion Torah portion for the week. Bam! There we go. Gotcha, babe. Anyways, so one of the funny things that I think about is there's a story that I heard in LDS circles where Joseph, when they were doing Zion's March from Ohio to Missouri, Joseph Smith was supposedly, he told the story. I don't know. It was a story in one of the journals from one of the brethren that was on that trek, on that march, when they went from Ohio to Missouri. And there's an anecdotal story where Joseph Smith passes by a burial mound of basically all throughout the Midwest. You'll find Native American, their burial mounds. They're big mounds, little mounds, are all over the place, like hundreds of thousands of them. You can find them all over the place throughout the Midwest and, you know, the Tennessee Valley and everything. And they're from basically a culture called the Hopewell. And then there are some that are older than the Hopewell called the Adena. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. There's a story there where Joseph, apparently in the spirit, you know, sees spirits of these people who are basically mocking them as they pass by because they're wicked. You know, I don't know how relevant, but it's funny because in the Israelite tradition, you rest. You don't go straight to heaven. You don't go straight to hell. You know, we like to say, yeah, oh, grandma's in a better place. And like, no, she's sleeping. And at the end of days, we'll all awaken on Judgment Day. You know, we'll all come forth out of the grave, and our spirits will be judged at that day. So until then, we're resting. So I wonder if, like, you know, it says we're sleeping. There's always been a part of me that's like, what if we're just like in a planet, like, you know, I play D&D. I'm big into those kind of, like, you know, fantasy role-play games. And in D&D, there's an idea called planar shift, where you can shift planes between the mortal plane, and then there's, like, you know, the ethereal plane, and like Like, there's astral plane, and I wonder if it's like that because in the scriptures it talks about there being like a new earth and a new heaven and all that stuff, and I wonder if it's a plane shift, like if there's a mortal plane that we're on, and when we die our spirits go into like a spiritual plane where it's basically we're like ghosts, only we don't have any effect on the mortal world. Like, I'm not really big into ghosts, and this is very
I believe spirits exist.
right.
There can be negative influences, but also you have to think about ministering angels as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like in the LDS church there's a big belief, like, we'll minister in the spiritual realm. Like we'll be called to minister to people who haven't received the gospel, because surprise surprise, there are large swaths of time where the gospel was in existence, to like the random Amazonian tribes person, or like different parts of the country, or like during the Dark Ages when there really was no gospel on the earth. And so I know that's a belief in the LDS faith. I don't know, most Christians are just like, oh yeah, poof, heaven, and you're gonna sit there and play a harp, and I'm just like, no, that's not what the scriptures say, buddy. The scriptures say you sleep, until judgment day, and then we shall all awaken, and our bodies shall be made renewed after judgment. So if we get to stay, which means we are in the book of life, if we're not condemned to the lake of fire, if we get to hang around and be with Yeshua in the millennial reign, which means we did the prerequisites of not being a bad person and accepting Yeshua, yeah, I'm so tired, and accepting Yeshua, I said Yeshua, and accepting Yeshua Messiah, and keeping the commandments, because that's an important thing. What is that? 1 John verse 3 and 4, those who keep the commandments and accept Yeshua Messiah, those are the ones who are in the kingdom. Yeah, go read that, by the way, if you're just new into this, because that's an eye-opener. What are the commandments? Well, start with 1 through 10 and then look at all the other ones too, because they're all important, but 1 through 10 is like your index. How to be a good person, how to love God, and how to love your neighbor. That's literally the 10 commandments. And exactly how to do that is right here in the front half of the book, not the back half. Anyways, I think that was a big rabbit hole. Should I go on the rabbit holes? What was it, 50 verse what?
51.
50 verse 1. Really? It's just 50 verse 1? It doesn't go further than that? I thought it was till like verse 25. It's like 50, do the first verse and then close the book. Yeah. No, it's 26. 50 until verse 26. Alright. And Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants and physicians to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. Because where did they come out of? They came out of Egypt. They knew how to do that stuff. Yeah. And 40 days were completed for him, for so are completed the days of embalming. And the Mitzrites wept for him 70 days. So they basically turned Israel into a mummy.
Which was eaten by the Europeans.
What?
Oh, just early Europeans were eating mummies.
They were what?
They supposedly got in their head that it was like a magical medical food. So they dug up a lot of mummies and ate them.
Like, are we talking, like, how early European are we talking? Like, Victorian European or, like, medieval European?
I don't know, but I do know that's a thing.
What?
Yes.
You have to show me that. That can't be true. Oh, crap. I've only got, like, 3 minutes left on my time here. We gotta hurry up. And when the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh,
Middle
saying,
Ages to Victorian era consumed ground up
oh,
Egyptian
God,
mummies
of course.
as medicine.
Gross. Okay, I gotta finish this, but that's disgusting. Cannibalism, bad. There's a Torah for that. When the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, if now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the hearing of Pharaoh, saying, my father made me swear, saying, see, I am dying. Bury me in my burial site, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Babe, I'm not going to get to the end of this. I spent too much time yabbering, and now my space is almost completely
You're
gone.
just gonna have to do part 2.
It's gonna be a very small part 2.
Okay.
Well, no, it won't be a small part 2 because we can do the next Torah or the next section of the Torah portion.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow after I upload this one and delete it from my phone. God, I need a new phone. Anyways, my father made me swear, saying, see, I am dying. Bury me in the burial site, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. And now, please let me go up and bury my father and return. And Pharaoh said, go up and bury your father, as he made you swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father. And, yeah, okay, my time's gonna run out. So, anyways, there will be part 2. I'll finish this one up. Anyways, I was gonna have like a whole, hey, how'd you feel about this, thing? But no, that's not gonna happen. All right, shalom. Catch y'all next time.